Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about what my trout setup is. A subscriber recommended that I make a video on that because I make videos on things that I like to use, but I haven't necessarily made a video on my entire complete trout setup. Shout out to Night Cash, a subscriber. He was the one who asked and recommended for this video. Without further ado, let's get started. So you guys might have noticed I have this chest pack on. This is something I wear with me when I go fishing. So it's basically my tackle box. It's a carry around. I don't need to put very much. It's got adjustable straps. This is made by Okeechobee Fats. I got it from Walmart. They're not hard to find. Really good little tackle box, and there's lots of pockets. I'm not going to go over every single pocket, but I am going to go over what I have in them. So starting off with the top, we have this little Flam Bayou container. It's so to protect from rust inside of this little container here. And I'm going to go over the contents inside. Starting off with spinners. We're going to start with my favorite spinners. I've mentioned this in my spinner video. This is a Panther Martin. You can see right here. This is the black gold. And then it's got the gold spoon. This is size 4. One of my favorite spinners for cast and retrieve because they are much heavier. And basically, if you're going to pick a spinner that is in your tackle box that you want to use for cast and retrieve just off a shore, make sure you guys cop one of these. You can get these at Walmart. You can get these at Cabela's. You can get them at most places that sell fishing gear. The next spinner I would definitely want to mention is a Rooster Tail. I don't know the exact size of this one. It is red-black right here. We have a red hook here at the bottom and a larger silver spoon. If you're going to get one of these and you're going to use them for cast and retrieve, make sure that you get a spinner that is larger size than this. So right here, you can see this is about the size of from the top to the middle of my finger. It's not very long or very big. Since these spinners are much lighter than Panther Martins, you're going to need a bigger one to cast if you're planning on casting and retrieving. If not, throw one of these on. Make sure you have a swivel or something on there to keep it on there. I can show you what a swivel is. Here's an example of a swivel right here. This is just a snap swivel. You can get these by Eagle Claw for like probably $4. You can get like 10. These little guys here, you can put them on. What I have this on right now is another Panther Martin. This is size 6. This is also a really good cast and retrieve. These things are really good at casting far. As opposed to this right here. This little Rooster Tail. Although they look about the same size, this weighs probably twice as much. If you're going to cast and retrieve one of these or get a bigger size than these, because the bigger these Rooster Tails are, the heavier they are, and you'll be able to cast them better. There are a couple more spinners I'm going to mention really quickly, and that is the Blue Fox Super Vibrax. You guys can see that here. Make sure you guys can see that spoon. It's just complete silver. That's the color. It's not anything special, just complete silver. And I go with silver and gold most of the time with most things. Rooster Tail doesn't exactly sell exactly silver. And so obviously the closest thing I could find here was some red and silver because I felt like red and silver also imitates a bleeding fish, anything like that. If they really get close enough to see it, that's what they're going to notice. And this thing here, I recommend. And then this is also a MEP spinner here. You can see exactly. This spinner's a little easier to see right here. You can see that these are not exactly really known for trout. These are also for carp, but I bring these because they do work on trout. This is just gold. It's got a little number on it. It says MEPS. That about covers spinners, guys. We're going to move on to the next thing I have, and we should go by this pretty quickly. The next thing we're going to be talking about is spoons and cast masters. Cast masters are really basically a member of the spoon family, although they're not as spoon shaped and don't have as a dramatic action. They're made that way on purpose, and I feel like they work when most things don't work. So what I have here is, I believe it's an 1/8 ounce cast master here, made by Acme. You can get them for probably $3 or $4. depending on where you are. You can get these at Walmart. You can get these at, again, other fishing stores. These are great trolling lures. These are great cast and retrieve lures. You can use these. It doesn't really matter what time of the day you use them. That about covers this Castmaster here. And then there are other spoons that I use. I'm going to remind you, use swivels on spoons, because if you tie it straight on to the, like, you see how there's just this hole here at the end of the spoon here that I can put that on. If you tie a line straight to it, the action is going to be pretty simple. But if you tie like a swivel on here, and then you tie the swivel to your line like so, you can get how this walks back and forth, right, like that. You see it's got a lot of wiggle room here. So that's what you want here, so that it gives it the right action. And it also prevents line twists. Swivel is also great to prevent line twists. So spin this, the top of the line here isn't spinning because the swivel has a little separate spot here. And so even if this spins like this, then the line won't twist. So your guys' hookup ratio will be better and you guys will lose less fish and snap off less. Another spoon I carry in my tackle box is a jake. Just a classic jake here. Jakes are another great trolling lure. You can cast and retrieve these, but you got to be aware that since they are pretty heavy, you got to worry about shallow water. If you're fishing in shallow water and you are trying to cast and retrieve this, it does work, and it does work well. Make sure that you guys reel a tiny bit faster. So for a Castmaster, for instance, I would probably reel, like, depending on like the size, I'd do that with like a 1/8 ounce right here. And then with a jake, I'd probably be like this, so that it has less chance. The spinners, you want to cast it, let it touch the bottom, jerk it up a tiny bit so it gets out of the bottom and out of the weeds and out of the rocks, and then just start reeling slowly at a constant rate, keeping that rod tip pointed at it. And the last spoon I'm going to mention is this here. This is a little Daredevil Spinny. These guys are really great. So it's got painted on the front, and it's right here. You can see that it is metallic on the back. So these are really, really great because you've got the design and it's not too intimidating, and it's a small size. I believe this is also 1/8 ounce right here. Also really good for cast and retrieve, and especially trolling, because trolling, it does the action for you, it gives you all the action you want. So let's move on to the next segment, and this is the second to last segment I carry in my little tackle box. This new segment is hard baits. This is the one spot in my tackle box that I like to use from definitely early February to late March, even a little bit of early April. We're going to get started and start looking at this guy here. This is the F5 Rapala Original Floater. The 5 is the size, and F stands for floating. So floating, size 5. This little guy is perfect for a little pond. It's perfect for any kind of, and really any body of water. Throw this out there and start. If it's really deep, I definitely suggest going for the silver CD5. This stands for countdown size 5. So they're the same size, but this is heavy and it sinks better and it dives better. The spoon shapes are different. On the Rapala floater, you see just a regular little bill, but here you've got a little divot in the bill, and this helps it dive even better than this. And definitely a little later into the season, so I'd say March, start switching over to these. And I have another one that I use, even bigger. This is the CD7. CD7 also stands for countdown 7. These guys here have the exact same spoons, just a little bigger. So yeah, we got the gold here. Definitely recommend gold black. That's the pattern you're going to be looking for on the packaging. It should say CD7 gold black. And I think that the sinkings come in a green packaging, and the floatings, the little floaters here, these guys come in blue. The fun thing about Rapalas and all hardbait fishing is that there's many different color variations. So we have another Rapala floating here, an F5, but this is in the rainbow trout color. And we have a CD5 countdown, so a sinking one with the same kind of sinking spoon. And I believe this is called Mustard Fire, something like that, Mustard Fire. I do carry square bills as well, little square bill crankbait, just a little guy by Strike King. These are also really, really well for action. These things have a really good buzzing action in the water. You can feel it at the tip of your pole. You can feel it as you're reeling the line, and you can feel the vibrations on crankbaits especially, and especially square bills as well, because they have a really, really good action. All crankbaits have really good action. The last one I'm going to mention as far as Rapalas and hardbaits go today is the J9. This is a Rapala J9, black silver. These right here are jointed. That's why it's called the J9. It's a jointed. This is also floating, and I believe you'll find these in either a red packaging or a blue packaging. They have also a big spoon so that they can dive better since they are very light and they float very well. So you're going to need that spoon. In the very beginning after casting it, you're going to see it sitting at the top of the water. All you're going to need to do is just start tipping it down a little bit like that, twitching it down until you can't see it on the surface. And these are really great for creeks, streams. These are awesome for that. And you can definitely cast and retrieve these. They do cast fairly far because they are bigger. As you can see, they are pretty big. J9, 9 is a very large size for what I would use. So I definitely be fishing brown trout with these because they are used to eating bigger bait. The next thing we're going to be talking about, the last thing that I have in my main little tackle box as far as lures go, is soft plastics. You can get soft plastics of all different shapes, sizes, colors. It's very intimidating at first when you go up to a place and you're like, look at all these colors, which ones do I get? Well, I'm going to tell you right now that some of the best colors to simply pick is white. For almost everything, I have white tube jigs. I have you can get white variations. You can get white black pepper. These are made by Strike King. Right here, curly tail grubs. You get these white. You can get these from many different brands. And normally jig heads, just some curly tail jig heads, they don't cost very much. You can get probably 10 or 15 even for a couple bucks. I also like these guys. I use these mainly ice fishing. I also use tube jigs a lot when I'm ice fishing and boat fishing. But this here, definitely use these guys ice fishing. I think this is a paddle tail. You can use these guys when you're ice fishing. Put worm on the end. I definitely recommend putting worm on the end of all of these. If you get any kind of soft plastic, definitely put some worm at the end, especially if you're boat fishing in a lake. You need them to smell that. Unless your squids are scented, I'd still recommend, even at that point, putting some worm at the end. Give them something that they want to eat. Lots of people cast and retrieve soft plastics like this, or you can get like these little swim baits here. These are made by Berkeley. I think it's a power bait kind of similar thing. These guys are called mouse tails. You can find these at Walmart. You can find these at most sporting stores, especially if you live near a place with trout. I've noticed depending on what fish are in your area, things will be sold based on that. So you're not going to find too many bass lures where you go if you're in Utah, for instance, because there are bass, but it depends on the store. It depends on the location. So like 3 hours from where I am, let's say, I could go to a pond and there would be bass in it, but not where I am. So that's why at my Walmart, I have lots of trout gear, and it's helpful to know that, especially because if you're going fishing somewhere, maybe you need to stop by. This covers what I carry for my little mini trout setup here. Now I'm going to go over terminal tackle and bait. The first piece of terminal tackle I want to mention is definitely hooks. You can get this kit now. I think it's fairly new edition. You can get these at Walmart. They're made by Eagle Claw. They have all these different hooks at different sizes. This right here, I have it upside down. This top size and this bottom size are really good for fishing in general. You can use these for almost any kind of fish. These left ones here, higher, they're a little bigger. Carp fishing. I have these all in a little kit. I can put these in a backpack, and you can use these super easily. It's awesome. So yeah, these will be they'll be in a separate box. So you're gonna find this box in a box, probably hanging most likely on a little store rack. And these things, I think they cost about $5, and there's over 200 hooks in these things. So definitely go look for these. The next thing is bobbers, and there's many different variations of bobbers as well. And I guess it just depends on what I'm fishing. And that's basically how I decide what bobber I'm going to use. So if I'm fishing something really heavy, I'm going to be using probably something like this, a little fill here. These little guys, this is weightless. So there are fills that are made weighted, but you use these mainly when your bait is so light that you need the bobber still standing up. And normally if the weight's on there, it will stand up automatically. And this wouldn't if you had a light bait on it, but you use heavy bait if you're catfishing. I bring these anyway because I do go trout fishing, and sometimes I put these guys on, and I'm casting really, really far and right into the middle of the lake, and this is heavy if you put some worm on the end too. I definitely recommend putting worm on the end of these, but almost 5 feet above these, I put the bobber there, so almost to the tip of my rod. And so you gotta like kind of cast from the side because you can't exactly cast behind you like normal when you have your bobber really high up. And I think you should definitely pair these guys because I went fishing the other day, tried this exact same setup, put some worm at the end. Within 2 minutes, I already had a 16-incher. And so the next bobbers I'm gonna bring up here are these foam ones made by Como Tackle. These things are also weighted, and I suggest these for bluegill fishing. If you have a small little hook with some little worm at the end, and maybe you have a little split shot sinker there to keep the bait from floating, because they don't really bite it as much when it's floating. The bluegill like it where they are, and they normally get it on the sink down. That's something else I should mention. If you're fishing for bluegill, they'll catch it on the sink down. So as soon as you cast it, you don't have to wait too long to get a bluegill. They're all pretty aggressive, and they simply bite anything that's meaty. So worms works really well. And one of the last bobbers I'm going to mention here is one of these. There's lots of companies that make these. I think I got these from just Ozark Trail. These little guys are a little bit more complex to work as far as a rig. What you want to do is you're going to take line, you're going to thread it up your line, and then once you have this, probably let's say it's up on your line, maybe it doesn't really matter how high you have it on your line because you're going to tie a swivel and you're going to have to tie a new leader on. So once you put this on the line, you're going to get one of these swivels here. I have a swivel right here. I can show you guys. So what you're going to do is tie this thing to the back end of the swivel. So this is the way you want it facing, the skinny end, but what you're first going to do is pop this up like that. Like that. You can see that I took the little thing out. You fill it up with some water, then you plug it back down, make sure it's nice and tight. There's a swivel here. What I'm going to do here with this swivel is this little back end. That's what you're going to tie the first line to, and then you're going to get about 2 or 3 feet of line leader, and you're going to tie it to this end. And this works better if you have a barrel swivel, which is basically just this first part. So this is a snap swivel, and this is a little barrel swivel. So you're going to want to use either a barrel swivel, which I recommend personally more than the snap swivels because these aren't as durable at the ends, but these are also made by Eagle Claw. You can find these almost anywhere. You find these at Walmart. You find these many different places. Something I like to put on the end of these rigs especially because trout are pretty finicky sometimes, especially early in the morning when they're all swimming around. They're going out of their normal areas, so they need to be on their watch. But these things here, I definitely say a power bait rig, and that's what we're going to be getting into next. So here we are talking about power bait. Power bait is one of my favorite kind of baits. It's just a dough. It's made by Berkeley right here. These guys make them, but you can get this garlic. These are both garlic flavor, but one has sparkles right here, and this one does not have sparkles, and it's a slightly different color tone. I definitely recommend using the one with sparkles because visual is pretty important for these guys. I like to pick bright colors. Not that they don't make bright colors. They make this is corn right here. Also a power dough. You just grab a treble hook, and a treble hook is just one of these guys here. I'd say about this size too. You don't need them very big. You get a small piece of power dough and you just weld it on there. You just kind of mold it over it so it's a little circle. You want to leave the barb slightly, barely exposed so that when the fish bite it and your bobber goes down, which I definitely recommend using this kind of bobber for that power bait rig. This will be slowly sinking down. It might take a couple minutes or even hours to see bites because it depends on the water conditions, light conditions, all that stuff. When this goes down, your bobber goes down, you just have to set it, and the bait will slide off, and the hook will go into the fish's mouth, and you'll be able to bring him back safely and not lose him, hopefully. Moving on to worms. So for worms, I'm not too serious about worms. I don't go to select places to buy worms. Like, you can go to Walmart. You can go to most places, actually, and get worms, like gas stations, supermarkets, that kind of stuff, they normally have a fishing section. If they don't have a fishing section, they probably have a little refrigerator with some worms. They're probably like $3 to $6 even, for depending on how many worms you get. I've been recently just digging them up in the garden, putting them up in there. I probably dig up about 30 or so, just as much as you'd buy from a store. Put them in there, and I just have this little Rubbermaid container here. It's a little big, but it's what I had on me, and I was like, okay, dig up some worms, put them in there, get them ready to go. And that's really the simplest way, I think, is to get worms. You don't have to pay much money. You don't have to pay any money, actually. If you've got a shovel, dig up some worms, put them in there. I like to keep the bigger ones and let the little ones grow. And you're going to want to thread them on with these depending on your hook size. So if you've got a small little hook, you don't have to worry about threading them, but you can just kind of slide it on there. But catfishing, I just bring these anyway because sometimes I'm using a bigger hook, like at the end of these hooks here. These hooks are fairly large. All you have to do is slide this little top on and slide your worm up, and it will just slide up. So you want to make sure that the little end, it's hollow here, and you can just slide the worm on. Put this on. Okay, there we go. And slide the worm that you already put on back up onto this hook, and that covers the hook almost completely. So I definitely still make sure that once you have, or if you have too much, just to bend the worm so the barb is still facing up and it's still not blocked, because you don't want the barb blocked when you're trying to catch trout, because if you scare them while they have it on, then they'll let go and you won't be able to set them, or you'll just lose them eventually because they weren't actually all the way on. Next thing we're talking about is this little fly box. I'm not a big fly fisherman, but these little boxes come in handy. I think this one's also made by Lost Creek, the same brand that sells those tube jigs that I use, the smaller, they're like medium size. I think they're about 3, maybe 2.5 inches. This thing here, I have a variety of things in here. I have sinkers, I have some hooks, mainly treble hooks. I have some little, right here, I have some nail clippers. You use these to cut line. It works really well, especially on monofilament. It doesn't work as well on braid, but it works really well on mono and fluoro. I have all my sinkers in here, split shots I have in these little pockets, and then I have some egg-shaped sinkers and bullet weights here. I have some swivels. I have swivels here at the end, so I have it organized so I can just get my sinkers out of here, put it on, get my swivel, put it on, get my baits from my other thing. I just layout. I have a little layout whenever I go, and I can just, it's like a little speed through cycle, and it works really quickly. It's one of my favorite ways to just get things organized. That's just the way I trout fish. I have my main bag, and then I have my lure compartment, my bait compartment, and then I have my little sinker, swivel, hook compartment here. And with that little thing, you can just go from bag to bait to rig. And then if you have like something like this on, then you'd go from bag to bait, which would be this. And I have this in my little tackle box, my little container. And then I just simply go to bait after. So it's bag, bait, worms. And worms are amazing right now, especially right here from May until probably a little bit mid-June. I definitely start sticking to worms. Try a little night fishing, you guys. Night fishing is really fun. Depends on the rules of your area, but if you can go night fishing, definitely recommend doing night fishing with those same tube jigs, or just some worm. Put some worm above a bobber. It's nice because the trout can't see the bobbers if they're bright colors like before. Lots of people get like light bobbers, so they're like little bobbers, but they have little lights, so you can see the bobber from really far away even if you cast it. I also carry a little tape measure here. It's a little 10-foot one. It's not very big, but I can measure fish with this thing, you know, little guy here, and I can fit in my tackle box quite nicely in this little pocket at the top. With this pocket, I actually have lots of things in here, like maybe 3 or 4 things, but I have these little pliers. Get them for $3 at Walmart. It's a great deal. These guys, you can get hooks out of mouths. You can cut line with this here. These little things, you just put the line between it, and then you just put some pressure on there, pull it a little, and it'll come off really, really easily. It's pretty grippy. These are pretty nice pliers for the cost. They're like little spring ones, so you don't have to open them with the back of your fingers like normally. You can just easily hold it. You have a better grip. And then the last thing I carry in this little thing, and I know it's quite a bit that I carry in here, surprisingly, but these little foldable scissors. You can cut line with them. I attach them. There's lots of attachments and little pockets and straps and all this kind of stuff. Like you got a little mini pocket here, and then I have the big pocket, which also has another pocket. This thing is great for organization, and that's sometimes really the basic thing that I bring. If I'm not going to bring anything else, I just bring this with my tackle in it, and then some poles, obviously, which we're going to get into very next. Poles aren't as big as a deal, okay, guys? Especially rods. Rod selection, I definitely go with a good brand rod, like maybe an Okuma Salilo. They're not that expensive. And then I go with a size 3000 reel to put at the end, especially because you can fit a little more line on there. You can cast a little better than the Okuma Salilo, which I don't own, unfortunately, to show you guys. You guys can look it up, Okuma Salilo. Okuma makes a lot of great ultralight, so look for the size ultralight. If you go on a website, you'll be able to see it. But if you go to the store and look for the Okuma, you can go to Walmart, you can go to a fishing shop like Sportsman's or Cabela's. On just the side of the rods here, you get all the information, and I can't really show you guys as close, but I can read here. So it shows the length of the rod, 6'6" medium. This is not an ultralight, guys. This is a medium, actually, I believe. Yep, this is a 6'6" medium. I use this as a general. I use it for casting bait. The reason I've been using this recently instead of my ultralight is because you put spinners and flies and all that kind of little stuff, like Pistol Pete's. They're these guys here. I can show you right now. But these guys work really well. Get them in silver and gold colors mainly, but these guys here, awesome. You put they don't cast very far since they're small, so you're gonna need to put some split shots a couple feet behind them. Split shot sinkers are just little sinkers that they have a pinchy. I can show you guys one of these too. They have a little pinchy on them, and you just clamp these on the line. It's that simple. These guys are removable. You want to make sure that they're removable. There are ones that don't have these little things on the back, but to remove them, you just pinch this little top thing to make it open, and then you just close the mouth to shut it. So this is the pole I've been using. It's just a medium Abu Garcia. It says that the max size lure is a 5/8 ounce lure. Put 6 to 12 pound line on it. With ultralight, I wouldn't say go more than 8, especially more than 8. I'd say 8 isn't even that. Like, I'd definitely probably stick to like 6 pound line at most on an ultralight combo. If you get a light combo, 8 should be the max, I think. On a medium, 12. On a medium heavy, you can put, and this is monofilament, guys. Monofilament has some memory and it stays on a little bit better, but then it also doesn't cast as far, and it does have a lot of tangles and like spinnies when you cast it. So if you put it on brand new, it isn't, but over time it gets memory on the reel. You cast it and it has slack, and you got to reel that in. But yeah, guys, mainly make sure that you're using those mediums for casting something heavy like this, for instance, and then you're going to want that same bobber that I mentioned earlier. This is a medium light right here, guys. This is a little Zebco. You can get this for $10 at Walmart, guys. I don't know if other stores sell them because they're not as quality. The rods are just fine, guys, but reels, this is the reel that came with it, guys. You can get this entire combo for $10 if you're just learning how to fish and you're not planning on investing too much yet, and you're just fishing to have some fun a couple times. Just get a little Zebco here. They come pre-spooled with line. Of course, I re-spooled mine, and I have a video on that, and I'll put the link in the description for you guys if you're interested in replacing the line that comes on store-bought reels. That's why I call it re-spooling. You can learn how to spool just regular line. If your reel did not come with line, you can learn how to spool it. But yeah, this is a medium light. I think the max you want to put on this is 8. Let's see what it says. Okay, it says 6 to 10 pounds, but I still wouldn't go more than 8 on a medium light. They have a little bit of good rod action here. So Zebco rods aren't terrible, guys. So if you're gonna purchase a Zebco and then keep going in the future, the reels will over time, and not that long. It doesn't take very long. I'd say almost a year or even 2 years at max. These things start getting loose on the bell, and you're gonna want to go ahead and replace that, because obviously a replacement would do you a lot better. And I don't exactly have some great suggestions for you guys as far as replacing the reels, because I haven't replaced very many reels myself. But I would get a size 3000. I don't think it matters the brand. Size 3000 is an all-around great size reel. It's a basic size reel. It's something you would want to probably consider putting on one of these guys. So the point of this video mainly is I don't bring one or two things that I know really works all the time, because nothing I can guarantee will work all the time. So I definitely recommend you guys, the point of this video, especially for many of you who are just starting and maybe you guys found a lure already that you guys really like and you think that maybe you should just take that. You need a variety, guys. I recommend bringing lures, and I recommend bringing worms or power bait, or even both. I have a backpack. You just use a backpack, put all the stuff that doesn't fit in your little whatever you guys have. I have a little tackle box below me here, but that's what I use to store tackle, so I can prepare for trips and anticipate trips. I'll be like, okay, I need something, like I need these spinners from my tackle box, and I'll put them in here, since I'm not putting everything I own into this, guys. A lot of it, maybe even half of it, I have in here because I don't own that much tackle. But I definitely would say bring a variety. Bring spinners, bring spoons, bring some Rapalas, you guys, who are new to hard baits, guys. If you're new to any of these things, I will have videos down below. I'll have links in the description, so if you press show more, you guys can see my spinner tutorial or my intro to spinners. You guys can see my intro to spoons. I actually have a video dedicated to Rapalas coming out soon. It'll probably come out is almost, I don't know, pretty quickly after I upload this, guys. By the time you guys see it, by the time you guys find this video, you guys, the video I have for Rapalas will be out. That I can assure you guys. If this video gave you direction on what you should consider doing next, or if it gave you a lot of help on which direction you were trying to go, if it gave you any guidance, guys, this is what this video is mainly for. And also because a subscriber recommended it, and I'm assuming he's still a subscriber, so if he still is, Night Cash, shout out to you for subscribing, and then shout out to you for telling me what I should do next. Guys, I do read comments, and if you guys suggest something, I will go ahead and I will make sure that I can try and get that done. And I upload almost daily, so you guys, if you guys like this video, if it helped you, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit notifications so that you guys can be the first to see the upcoming videos I will have. And then that about covers it, guys. If there's anything I missed or anything you guys use that I didn't mention, definitely let me know down in the comments, and I will read through, and I might actually do a video after using them and review and kind of make a vlog about them, just like I have with the intro to spinners and spoons. Good luck fishing, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.